I really liked the first episode. It was so good. No problems with it at all.
I assume that's sarcasm.
I'm just letting people know so they can click away in case he's gonna criticize
He's
it.
gonna be mean.
And say he didn't have immediate fun with it. Like if I say, for example, having the Doctor and Ruby be 11 out of 10 all the time isn't exactly a great choice.
11 out of 10 as in energy-wise?
They're energy-wise. I get it that probably on set, the two of them getting on so well, let's get on it. But within a minute, you're like, parking that, Time Lord, double parking that. I'm like, is this going to be fucking witty?
It's the same problem I had with Ruby Road. They feel like they're immediately best friends.
Yes.
Like they've known each other for one episode, and there's a
And in
difference
the
between...
second episode, she's like, you always fix things. I went, what do you mean? It's been two
It's
fucking
like
goes,
you've
mate.
met her one time.
Yeah.
But the intro is very, very exposition heavy. Like that's...
Yeah, this whole episode felt like someone who's never watched Doctor Who. The
Which
Doctor
is why it's season
full
one.
on saying, yes, it's full on, he's saying to Ruby, he's saying to us, this is what I do. I do this. Like, I'm an orphan.
And they don't retcon Timeless Child at all. They feed into it, if anything.
So there's a fair bit of deep history of New Who, and now New Who has kind of been extracted, and now we're in Disney Who.
Yes.
So I went, okay. So imagine there's a new 12-year-old who's just turned on the old Disney Plus, and this is it. This is the first Doctor episode, like Rose was for me.
It should be, but also they've decided, according to Disney Plus, that the Christmas episode is the first episode.
It's the first episode.
So that's your intro now. So we kind of have to not think of this as the first episode, even though it kind of is the first episode.
Yeah, because it works like that. It does obviously lead immediately on. Like the last moment of the Christmas episode is the first lines of this episode. But I was a bit, I'm the last of my kind. I'm like, okay, I know that's what's his name, because the Master killed all the Gallifrey
the Master did a small genocide and deleted all the Time Lords. Turned them into Cybermen and then deleted them. But
is that because obviously Russell originally had them blow up Gallifrey, which I imagine if you go back to the old stalk boards, the internet chat boards of 2005, you can't just blow up Gallifrey. How fucking dare you? But to me,
it worked
as
so
someone
well
who grew up in the superhero, the superhero kind of era, Spider-Man, Superman, like the only one of my kind, it's all up to me. I was like, oh yeah, that's just the trope. That's not messy, and it felt like an intro. My planet's gone. So for new fans like me, I'm like, oh okay, cool. I wonder what his planet was, because the planet was a mystery. I remember in season 3 when he says Gallifrey, that was a big reveal for me. I was like, wow, it's called Gallifrey. I didn't know that, thinking that was a new thing. But then I imagine for old fans, they'd be like, you'd like to think they'd be going, oh, what happened to Gallifrey? What was this time war? That said, I just felt like Russell just likes the Doctor being the only one, because I guess the problems are, I'll just pop back to Gallifrey and we'll fix it or something.
I think he just doesn't want to rewrite Chibbers either. Like,
Wants to be polite.
He wants to yes and not no but.
But then the whole orphan thing, where it's like, well, you weren't an orphan, you were found by
Tekteon. But yes, so I guess he's using that definition pretty loosely of I'm an orphan, because your parents might be alive, you just abandoned, but I guess what's the difference? To a degree, it's easier, it's cleaner, but I haven't watched Rose super recently, but I still can't help but compare this to Rose, and it just, I feel like the Rose drip-fed some of the information, whereas here it kind of felt like every 2 minutes the Doctor would pause and say another thing about his past, and then they would continue.
Yeah, it felt like, obviously I don't know how much involvement Disney has, how much it's just Russell wanting to reintroduce Doctor Who. But it just felt like almost like a pitch episode. Like someone who doesn't know what Doctor Who is. This is a pilot.
Yes, which is again weird considering Ruby Road is the first episode.
It's the first episode, and then technically Disney, their actual first episode is David Tennant's.
Yes.
So even though they've labelled them specials, they're still linear talking.
You'll still find them.
And then we're going to have characters from those specials back, like Rose Noble.
Yeah.
Will be back at some point.
And so plot-wise, realistically, all that happens is...
There's a problem on a spaceship. Real simple stuff.
Yes, they go to a spaceship. Turns out the spaceship is run by babies. All the cargo is babies. And there's a boogeyman in the basement.
And then And then because Russell, he likes to do it. There's the whole pro-life people get criticised because the whole, they care about the babies being born, but then who gives a shit?
And then they'll abandon them.
Which is a fair enough comment.
There's also a quick commentary on the way businesses just abandon and delete things. So like, oh, this isn't working. We'll just leave everyone here. Screw all the people that are going to.
So the babies were born
hurt.
6 years ago, but they remain babies.
Yes, they don't explain why.
But they left the birth machine running. So you lot grew up, but you stayed the same size.
He says it, so it's
that's why they're talking, and
yes,
because they're 6. They're
6 years old,
okay, cool.
But they look like babies. And to be honest, I think they should have just cast 6-year-olds.
I was thinking that too,
because the CGI
on the mouse.
It's putting peanut butter in a dog's mouth to make him talk for babe. It's the whole head isn't moving, and then the mouth's going. It's a disembodied baby voice.
It was an interesting choice. Like I liked. Oh yeah, that scene, which is just a direct take from the second
Rose's episode too.
The second,
which again, this is very comparable to.
But yeah, I was like, oh, this is just you full on copy and pasted here, didn't you, lad? I thought the idea of it being babes was like, we can't just have it be just another crew. Like it has to be. We've had so many.
Well, we did the
lands on a
Pating,
ship, and
even
the
just a couple
devil.
of.
Yeah, that one. Then even the, there's so many examples of Doctor Who of in a location, there's a crew, something's happening.
Slight mystery. That's honestly probably half the episode.
So I guess they thought, but then you think for a first episode, this is kind of weird and kind of silly.
Batshit.
Like babies that are talking. I did like the idea that they've
also how those babies draw so high up on the walls
and how they set up all the construction. Like, don't think about it.
Like, did Nanny just do it while they were gone, or did they not have to be in the chairs? But then they realized. When they got to actually making the episode, they were like, we can't, like, the babies won't do what we tell them to.
Yeah,
Put them in a chair, we'll drive them around. Which would have been fun. Remote control babies in chairs, hilarious.
But
it's dinosaurs on a
just
spaceship.
Had 8-9-year-olds walking around acting adult would have been fine. Like, they're rapidly progressing.
You could even replace their voice if you needed to.
Yeah, have adult voice.
Like, if Bluey can get fantastic performances out of children,
these guys can.
These guys got to be able to do it eventually, surely.
I think it was it was just a pitchy episode. It was just, here's what Doctor Who fundamentally is. He will try and solve the problem, but he won't, even if it's a giant booger monster, he will still try and do the right thing.
That's the plot twist. Let's just spoil it. There's really not too much to this episode, so I don't feel bad already getting into spoilers. The boogeyman is made of boogers because the kids have been snotting into tissues, and the education system of the space station that's supposed to teach the babies, because it's very literal, and it thinks the kids need a monster because it had read books.
Yeah,
it was very weird.
That's why they kept saying bogeyman, not boogeyman.
Yeah,
because bogies.
It was kind of reachy.
Yeah, it was a bit.
I don't know. Treating it like a pilot episode, which they basically were. It doesn't feel like enough of the essence of Doctor Who. It's got the main steps, but it wasn't aha enough.
Yeah,
like there wasn't that real Stephen Moffat-y, like that's what they fucking did. Like Beast Below, like how it all comes together. Whereas with this, it was very much like they had to replay the flashbacks. They had to show us, oh, look, there's the snot thing we showed you earlier. We said Boogerman. Yeah. Isn't it funny that it's like, it was inconsequential as well, I guess. Like, it didn't really help them solve the problem. All it made the Doctor decide was that it was worth saving, some reason.
Yeah, and then it becomes a dog, like it goes, ow, then because they reference it as if it is a dog.
But they say doggo, because Russell T Davies is a few years behind.
By it simply having half of its body ripped off, it becomes dog-like.
I thought it was going to end up in one of the baby chairs because it didn't have legs. They don't explain whether it's good now. They just
but I was confused because it's a snot monster. So you're telling me it's a monster made of snot,
and it was created.
It doesn't have. It doesn't count.
It's not sentient.
So the Doctor shouldn't feel too bad about killing it.
I have no idea why he saved it.
So
Let me know if you know.
I thought it was a bit of a... Because, I mean,
everyone's
I'm not as well,
saving.
but there is examples of the Doctor killing someone to save others.
Often.
Yeah.
The Doctor does lots of killing. See this? Looks like a gun.
Looks
like a gun. We'll get into it later. We'll touch on it.
Yeah, over with that episode, it was fun, quick, fast, enjoyable, but nothing to write home about.
I don't know. I didn't hate it. I did not like it, but I wouldn't call it enjoyable. It was kind of just like there.
It just was there. I think
it wasn't
too
different to the Pating, to be honest.
Attention to. I think Shooty, and a bit more in the second episode too. He doesn't seem to have
the alien quality.
He's not
is what I think.
Quiet every moment is an exaggeration. If he's upset for someone, he's upset. His movements, I may be being overcritical, but everything. So if he's concerned about someone, he's deeply concerned.
Yeah.
If he's excited, he's very excited. And like everything's kind of up here the whole time.
I feel that.
And when I think about Matt Smith and like a core character, the Doctor, and everyone has their little like twists to it. And he was still just figuring out with him yet. And I'm not saying he's not. He's a fantastic actor. And some of it is just direction and how the choice has been. Just thinking about how David will have like brief moments of quiet, or, you know, like they kind of, with Chris and David, he was like, there's that darker inside version of him who's still being like, I just committed genocide and I'm all alone.
He's got that rage. There's no rage here.
There's no rage here. There's no rage or range.
Which was why the killing all the Time Lords for Eccleston was a very smart move, because it gave him that massive extra layer.
Yeah.
And I think for me, Shudi's just missing the alien quality, which is like he doesn't feel like an alien. He doesn't feel like he's taking a person on an adventure so much as they're just good mates going for a trip.
Yes.
Like I've got eccentric mates
and
like
it's so
Shudi,
crazy that
and that's just how it feels.
And it is so weird that he's 30, 31. She is actually 19, 20.
Yes,
but
they
they
look
both
too
feel
close.
the same.
Yeah.
But then
Whereas
Matt
Eccleston
Smith,
and Rose,
but
it's
Matt
an old
Smith was
guy.
26 and she was 22. But
That's because he had that alien quality. He had that drive.
And he just had a few. And I'll give maybe Moffat was quite good at giving him the layering, and as I've said before, just I know it's only because I'm comparing him to someone who's had like a full arc now.
Yes,
but seeing Matt Smith
even in 11th Hour
about the TARDIS, like, because it's something that constantly needs to be worked on. I remember going, that's such a nice thing to remind the audience, and just that he's a scientist, he's a doctor, he likes to potter about with things. So with this, it's still just it's very adventurous. He doesn't feel like a
scientist or a doctor.
I was conscious that it's Russell writing Doctor again, and you know, it's how much of the writing is just how much of it is given to the actor to interpret, to add to their Doctor, because I'm like, could I see David Tennant's Doctor doing this storyline? And would it be any different? Also, another small thing, the I think the amount of times he says babies, then goes space babies.
Space babies! Space babies! Space babies! Space babies.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It was such an amount of time that he constantly had to keep correcting that.
Not and I thought this isn't space babies. They are babies,
but it isn't funny.
Yes. So, like, did Russell find that funny in script form and it just didn't translate, or is that meant to be an eccentricity of like he has to always say space babies? Like he feels like he says baby and he's like, I want to say space babies.
And then the button pushing thing. Wow,
that was a theme again. Like it feels piloty.
Yeah,
like it feels like the Doctor loves pushing buttons. I'm gonna show you
because
all
he
that
directly
with a
says
fun line.
Because I'm remembering he directly is like, "This is what I do. This is who I am."
Yes. So again, that's kind of like speedrunning the first 2 episodes of Eccleston's. They're trying to get across everything because this is the semi-first episode. It really does feel like they stop, and then Ruby was like, "Is this what you do? You go around saving people?" And then he's like, "Yes, I do. Also this." And she's like, "But what about my mum?" And he's like, "I can fix your phone." Whereas that felt a lot more drip fed. Even in Eccleston's first episode, he just says, "Oh, they're gone." Like he doesn't really explain anything. Rose's second episode being the watching Earth burn. Watching all of
Even
Earth
though that's not the
burst
strongest
into
episode
flames.
in the world, him having to do the fucking video game, avoid the fans. And it was felt so like the button is at the end of this aisle of fans.
For Rose.
Yeah.
She gets to see everything burning. Like, that's
and
a big deal.
It kind of brings the horror of time travel to it.
Exactly. Whereas with this, it's babies in space.
Yeah, like for her, it's a horrified thing going... Because she's the same age as Ruby. She's 19.
Yes.
So it's like, everyone right now is dead. And he's like, no, they're not. It's a relative thing. Like, he doesn't think of people as dead. Like, he can go see Churchill like I've come to see you.
It's an inconsequential episode that kind of feels like either a pilot or a fun middle of the season. And even then, I didn't have too much fun with it. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a strange one for me.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But ultimately, you're having fun. The tone seems fairly right.
With the beats of Eccleston's first few episodes, they are almost just copying them. And it feels mostly weird because it is RTD doing it again. Like they give...
Yeah, the second one...
They give Ruby and Rose both the phone.
Oh, of course. The fucking... We've got budget now. Her stepping on the butterfly, spending all that money for her to become in it. And then it shows that he can use regenerative powers to
Except they
heal
don't show
things.
that it's
They don't
regeneration
show
energy.
the glow, but I think of it
And
as,
also,
when he healed River Songs.
He regenerated a while ago.
No, but remember
'cause
when
he
he
healed
can
up.
transfer regeneration
But he
energy.
explained that immediately. And also, we'd known that character
Can't
for a
believe-
while.
I'm
Whereas
glad
this
we
is meant
brought
for
that
new
up.
people. So
That-
do they just think he has healing powers?
But then he does the butterfly thing, which is a line he said with Martha in season 3. What if I step on a butterfly?
Yeah, don't step on any butterflies.
Yeah, does he also say that?
Yeah,
David
he says
"Oh,
don't step on any butterflies. And then the doctor in this one says, how are you even going to step on a butterfly? That's the ridiculous thing to do. Like, you'd have to follow around
Yeah.
and intentionally do it.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah. And he's
Felt
like,
a bit
"Ooh."
because he kind of did her accent a little
Yeah.
bit. I was like, oh, and the big sweeping shots, it all looks very
It looks
nice.
good.
And
It looks so
expensive.
much better than Chibnall season. We said that last time. But
It's funny to think because for the first season, it felt like their extremely cheap episode
Yes.
where they park in Cardiff.
They
It
just
has
go
to
to
be Cardiff. It can't be London. We can't double it anymore.
Yeah.
But in that one, it was super cheap. You're either on Earth in the past or modern day, or if you are in the future, it's on a soundstage.
yes, well,
And-
the whole first season was also set on or above Earth.
On or exactly, but in
To
that
keep it
limit,
grounded.
in that limitation, you got some incredible episodes. Where with this, I'm like, we've got all the budget now, and the fact that they went, oh yeah, let's do a complete. I mean, I couldn't believe that they
dinosaurs,
did
as
that.
long as we
They
only
fully
stand on
did
the
all
edge.
that outfit. It was a really good outfit that they did for her for a 20-second gag. I know it was there to illustrate that them doing time travel is more of a
I think it felt like more of a gag, to be honest.
gag, but still, it showed that the Doctor can heal things.
Yes, it's I don't know if this episode would grab new fans.
And I'm not sure, is she the best actress?
She's an actress. I don't know.
Because remember when people were people were slagging off Billie Piper originally because she was this
really?
failed pop star. She can't act, but then fucking smashes it, launches
Yeah.
her career. Still one of the favoured companions of New Who. If
Again,
not
I don't
the
know why.
favoured
I don't know why he did
companion.
it to himself. He made it so that people can make direct comparisons between his first
It's a
companion
blonde
and his newest one.
19-year-old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why is he retreading himself so much? He's opening himself up to so much.
We know for
criticism.
season 2, it's a sharing of the TARDIS.
Yes.
She pops in, he pops in.
Yes.
Oh, and we get a hint of her being extra special with the snow, kind of blending into.
Yes, he can't resist a mystery box, but there's more of that.
Well,
in the
but
second
that feels
episode.
really Moffat-y because I feel
Do you not
like.
remember Bad Wolf? Although,
Yeah, but
I guess
but- I
Bad Wolf was
you're
subtler.
right.
This is more
But
heavy-handed, like
Moffat
Moffat would
was
do.
really, because Moffat was the whole Clara Noble being the mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, and I always get
He'd sew it into the
the
story
idea
more.
that the companion is super important. I just kind of wish the companion. I'm not saying the Doctor needs to be important. One.
Yeah.
I just don't know why the companion always has to be a magical entity.
It's definitely a new Who kind of deal.
Yeah, because it wasn't the case back in the
No,
day.
not at all. They were just
kinda-
randos
they were
most of the time.
randos.
Again, one of them was an Australian just trying to get back to Heathrow.
Really,
Yeah.
just and while on
She
the way
wanted
back.
she wanted to meet her aunt, and the Doctor accidentally kidnapped her.
Brilliant.
And then it's a whole season of her just being like, "Can we go home now?" And he's like, "I have no fucking idea how." Which is again another thing about the Rose and Eccleston episode is I'm pretty sure they take away access to the TARDIS. I don't think they can leave whenever they want to.
Well, in this one
Or
they do
there's-
as well.
there's higher stakes,
Well, in
whereas
this
in this-
one, it's he runs
Oh,
up, it's
sorry.
locked downstairs.
The boogeyman is
and they have to be
slightly
that
further away.
he has a
Okay.
resonance that makes the Doctor run away, or else the Doctor would just run down there and beeline it for the TARDIS
Yes,
immediately.
which was odd. They make the Doctor run away, but
Also-
not in a run sense, more of a I'm scared sense.
Yeah, and I do like the aesthetic of the TARDIS. I like how the shape of it. It's
They
very nice.
immediately use those lights,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
as soon as he runs inside. Yep.
Yeah, it kind of created a nice depth to it. Interesting shots. Yeah, overall, cool.
Again, yeah, I'm pretty cold on it, to be honest.
Pretty cool. It's a 3 out of
definitely
5.
not a bad episode.
It's a 3
I
out
think
of 5.
it's a fine middle of the season episode. I just don't think this is going to grab people, which is
I
why
mean, we didn't even talk about Nana.
Well,
We
this
didn't even
is-
talk about that whole
Oh, yeah.
character.
that doesn't matter.
But that's the point. Is
Yeah.
that it's the point of it.
She becomes the people of the
you're
bad
meant to
guy
be
for a
selling
second.
me on the character and what this is. By the end of it, it's this is what he does. This is
The
what you
ending
can
with-
expect every episode.
The ending with saving the boogeyman really felt like, oh, the Doctor saves people. He hasn't done any heroic sacrifice to save anyone this episode, like the running across the bridge or no one dies,
No one does.
which Doctor Who kills people a lot as in the show, not the character. Because, again, the wood lady bursts into flames, for instance.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, again, horrors of time travel. People will die on this journey. Why are you still going to come with me? Oh, it's because you love the thrill. Yeah. Whereas, again, Ruby can go home whenever she wants. She does go home immediately.
Yeah.
She's kind of hanging out.
Gets the phone call. Yeah.
It's not grabbing me. It doesn't feel as consequential, and that's about it. I think episode 2 is way more interesting to talk about as in terms of the show and the season. Yeah, literally everything is more interesting in episode 2. Whether or not you like the premise or the actual story of episode 2 more, I think it's more interesting for the show.
I think you could have had episode 1 and 2 be one episode and accomplish something. Not be the same story, but you could have done...
Disney does this all the time with their 2-episode premieres, and it's always because the first episode is weak. Like, Ahsoka came out, 2-episode premiere, because episode 1, pretty balls, pretty shitty. So then episode 2, they're hoping, oh, this is a better one. You could also just write better stories.
You could just write a story. Sure that first episode's awesome.
Yeah, you could just write a banger of a first episode instead of like shitting something out and then hoping 2 together. If people watch for 2 hours, maybe they'll come back next week.
That's also my theory with, I know people liked it with Fallout. I don't think I would have kept watching Fallout if it was a weekly thing.
Oh, you're a big Mauler fan then?
Oh, fuck off with Mauler. Oh, Mauler. But we really liked it. Oh, we can have fun. I laughed at it. Oh, how can they enjoy things? But you like it when Mauler criticises things.
I don't think I'll ever rewatch that episode, though.
No,